George begins to make the medicine. George took an enormous saucepan out of the cupboard and placed it on the kitchen table. "George," came the shrill voice from the next room, "what are you doing?" "Nothing, Grandma," he called out. "You needn't think I can't hear you because you closed the door. You're rattling the saucepans." "I'm just tidying the kitchen, Grandma." Then there was a silence. George had absolutely no doubts whatsoever about how he was going to make his famous medicine. He wasn't going to fool around about wondering whether to put a little bit of this in or a little bit of that. Quite simply, he was going to put in everything he could find. There would be no messing about, no hesitating, no wondering whether a particular thing would knock the old girl out sideways or not. The rule would be this: whatever he saw, if it was runny or powdery or gooey, in it went. Nobody had ever made a medicine like that before. If it didn't actually cure Grandma, then it would cause some interesting results. It would be worth watching. George decided to work his way round the rooms, one at a time, and see what they had to offer. He would go first to the bathroom. There were always lots of funny things in the bathroom, so upstairs he went, carrying the enormous saucepan before him. In the bathroom he gazed longingly at the famous and forbidden medicine cupboard. But he didn't go near it. It was the only thing that he didn't touch. He had made solemn promises to his parents about this, and he wasn't going to break them. There were things in there that actually could kill a person, and although he wanted to give Grandma a pretty fiery mouthful, he really didn't want a dead body on his hands. George put the saucepan on the floor and went to work. Number 1 was a bottle labelled Golden Gloss Hair Shampoo. He emptied it into the pan. "That ought to wash her tummy clean," he said. He took a tube full of toothpaste and squeezed the whole lot in one long worm. "Maybe that will brighten up those horrid brown teeth of hers," he said. There was an aerosol can of super foam shaving soap belonging to his father. George loved playing with aerosols. He pressed the button and kept his finger on it until there was nothing left. A wonderful mountain of white foam built up in the giant saucepan. With his fingers, he scooped out the contents of a jar of vitamin-enriched face cream. In went a small bottle of scarlet nail varnish. "If the toothpaste doesn't clean her teeth," George said, "then this will paint them red as roses." He found another jar of creamy stuff labelled hair remover. "Smear it on your legs," it said, "and allow to remain for 5 minutes." George tipped it all into the saucepan. There was a bottle of yellow stuff, and it was called Dishwash's Famous Dandruff Cure. In it went. There was something else called Brilliant for Cleaning False Teeth. In it went too. He found another which said Nevermore Ponking Deodorant Spray Guaranteed, it said, to keep unpleasant body smells away for a whole day. "She could use plenty of that," said George, as he sprayed the entire canful into the pan. Liquid Paraffin, the next one was called. It was a big bottle. He hadn't the faintest idea what it did to you, but he poured it in anyway. That, he thought, looking round him, was all about it from the bathroom. On his mother's dressing room, in her bedroom, George found yet another lovely can. It was called Helga's Hair Set. Hold 12 inches away from the hair and spray lightly. He enjoyed squirting the whole lot into the saucepan. There was a bottle of perfume called Flowers of Turnips. It smelled of old cheese. In it went. and in too went a large round box of powder. And he threw that in as well for good luck. He found a couple of lipsticks. He pulled the greasy red things out of their cases and added them into the mixture. The bedroom had nothing more to offer, so George carried the enormous saucepan downstairs and trotted into the laundry room. In the laundry room, the shelves were full of all sorts of household items. The first one he took down was a large box of super white for all automatic washing machines. Dirt, it said, would disappear like magic. George didn't know whether Grandma was automatic or not, but she certainly was a dirty old woman, so she better have it all, he said, tipping the whole boxful in the pan. Then there was a big tin of Waxwell floor polish. It removes dirt and foul, filth, messes from your floor and leaves everything shiny and bright, it said. George scooped up the orange waxy stuff out of the tin and plonked it in the pan. Then there was a round cardboard carton labelled flea powder for dogs. Keep well away from the dog's food, it said, because this powder, if eaten, will make the dog explode. Good, said George, pouring it all into the saucepan. He found a box of canary seed on the shelf. Perhaps this will make the old bird sing, he said, and in it went. Next, George explored the box with shoe cleaning materials, brushes and tins and dusters. Well now, he thought, Grandma's medicine is brown, so my medicine must also be brown or she'll smell a rat. The way to colour it, he decided, would be to be with brown shoe polish. The large tin he chose was labelled dark tan. Splendid. He scooped it all out with an old spoon and plopped it into his pan. He would stir it up later. On his way back to the kitchen, George put the huge saucepan on the table and went over to the cupboard that served as a larder. The shelves were bulging with bottles and jars of every sort. He chose the following and emptied them one by one into the saucepan. A tin of curry powder, a tin of mustard powder, a bottle of extra hot chilli sauce, a tin of black peppercorns, a bottle of horseradish sauce. There, he said, that should do it. George, came the screechy voice from the next room. Who are you talking to in there? What are you up to? Nothing, Grandma, absolutely nothing, he called back. Is it time for my medicine yet? No, Grandma, not for about another half an hour. Well, just see you don't forget it. I won't, Grandma, George answered. I promise I won't.